In this video, I'm going to show you how to make quality music with limited resources. This is budget music production. Let's go. This is where I'd get started. I'd at least get a guitar or a piano keyboard that I can plug into my software or just to run sounds into the recording. Let's start with the guitar. This is a Fender Stratocaster copy that I own. It's not even an actual Fender Stratocaster or even the Squire model. This is actually called a Series 10 model. Anyway, these kind of Stratocaster copies can be picked up for $100, and they work just fine as long as you can get some practice in and be able to play on the thing. I could record with it, certainly. In addition to your guitar, you could get a piano keyboard like this. This is a Yamaha Piaggio NP12, and these are pretty inexpensive but play nicely. You could plug this right into your software, so you could use the software synths for the sounds, which I'll show you coming up here. But that's a good keyboard for starters. And also I have this other one over here I'll show you. This KORG microKEY Air. That's a Bluetooth keyboard, so you can just connect that right to your phone or to your iPad via Bluetooth and run through the soft synths on that. That one's a little bit more expensive, I think. We'll have to check the prices, but I think that might be around $200 these days. Okay, that being said, you're going to need some way to plug your guitar or piano into your iPad or iPhone. That's called an interface. And also, in the case of the iPad, I have an adapter that I'm using in addition to the interface. Let's take a look at both. All right, hopefully you can make your desk neater and cleaner than this is here. But let me show you what I've got. I'm running this J5 Create adapter, which allows me to plug all kinds of things into it. I've got an aux input there, power, which is nice so you can keep running on the iPad or your phone. And then this is coming off of a USB from my other mixer, which I'll show you in a moment. And this is coming from the iRig HD. And that is where the guitar goes in. But I've also got one other feature I want to share with you with that I've got over here, which is very cool. I've got my guitar running in here into this Digitech drop pedal, and that allows me to do drop tunings on the fly without having to change the tension on my strings. So for all these heavy metal drop songs that you're into, you don't have to mess around with string tension or any of this kind of stuff. You just press that. And it's great for recording though, because what if I want to do a drop tuning for the recording, or maybe I want to play bass even, right? I can even use my electric guitar to record bass through this by setting it to the octave setting, an octave below. All right, so that runs into the iRig HD. That HD runs into this J5 Create adapter here, and that runs directly into the iPad. So that gets all of my inputs into the iPad from anything I want. You can actually run a microphone into that if you want to as well. And that'll give you, so you can do your vocals with just these items here. So just a pretty minimal setup and it'll work fantastic. Once you've got your instrument of choice, you're going to need something to plug it into to run it into the software. I've got a couple of options that I like to use. Let me show you both. My first option is this Boss GT100. It's a fairly old unit, but still sounds amazing today. You can download presets from the internet connecting through what's called the Boss Tone Studio. And there's lots of professional presets on there, like Marty Friedman, for example. He's dialed in some presets for us, and we can download them right to this unit and get some great tones. And then you can run this right into your interface. This is a little bit more expensive since we're talking budget. Even though this is older, it might cost you a couple $100 is my guess to get a used one. So let me show you one other option that's going to actually be cheaper than this. The cheaper option is going to be to not use hardware at all and just use software. All you need is an iPhone or an iPad, and this Tone X app is fantastic. It's one of the newer ones that has guitar amp models in it. And you can run this right into your software, your DAW, and just control the settings like you would on any regular amp. But one of the great features about this is after you've recorded a great take and you've landed it and you go, fantastic, I've got it, you don't have to worry about your amp tone so much. You can go back and tweak the amp tone or switch the amps or add effects and all these kinds of things after you've recorded the guitar part. Okay, what else are you going to need for your budget home recording studio? A microphone, right? I've got an AKG here. This is model D330BT, and I believe these are fairly inexpensive online these days. If you can find a nice Shure SM58, those are great as well. I've got one around here somewhere, but I wasn't able to find it for this video. Now let me show you the microphone I do use. It's a little bit more expensive than some of these budget microphones, but let me show you what it is because it does work quite well. Okay, this is a little bit more expensive than a Shure SM58, but it's better quality, and it's got stereo and some other nice features on it, the Blue Yeti Pro USB. One of the cool features about this is you can plug it directly into a PC if you've got that, and that way you don't have to run phantom power to it, which you do need if you're going to use this with an iPad. So for that I've got this here, and this is definitely taking us up out of the budget zone a little bit, but the Yamaha AG03 is quite nice. I use that for guitar lessons and piano lessons online via Zoom, and that allows me to control all kinds of inputs, aux input, headphones, my keyboard at the same time, my guitar pedal board at the same time, all these kinds of features. I can control my speakers. So that's very nice. If you can afford something like that, get that. If not, stick with the J5 Create and the iRig HD. But keep in mind that this does require phantom power. So if you get that, you've got to have something to power the mic. All right, the next thing you need in your home studio setup is a way to listen to your sound, right? You're going to need some earbuds. You could get something like that to start if you're on a super budget, right? These are like $5 at the Family Dollar. So super cheap, they're not going to sound great. It's not going to be great for mixing your overall mix, right? You're going to want something a little bit better for that. But if this is all you can afford, get started and make some music. If you've got a little bit larger budget to work with, go with something like these. The Sennheiser HD600 headphones, they're great for mixing, especially if you live in an apartment and a spot where you can't really get too loud. This is going to take care of all of your mixing needs for the most part. If you've got the space and a little bit more of a budget, get yourself a nice pair of studio speaker monitors like these JBLs. These are the 8-inch woofers, so you can definitely find something a little bit cheaper for the budget studio with a smaller woofer on it. But it's real comfortable to have these in the studio when you're composing. You don't want to have to wear the headphones all the time if possible, so pick up a pair of studio monitors for your setup. Okay, now that we've got all of our hardware set up, let's go into the software on your iPhone or your iPad. You've got Cubase as an option. I have that available, but I don't use it as often as Logic Pro since that came out. So Logic Pro is my choice at this point, and that's quite nice. It's got a lot of cool features, especially for independent home studio setup, because you got a drummer built right in. You can open up this drummer here, and it'll add into a loop basically for you, and you can get started right away. That's a hard rock drummer there on 8 measures. And then it just loops back around. So pretty cool, nice rhythm, good fills, and then you can get started with a guitar amplifier setup, which I've got here. If I open that up, you'll see that I have the ToneX amp already installed on that track, and so all of my guitar amp is ready to go on there. Let's check that out. And there's our guitar track with the drum track for 8 measures. Let's take a listen. All right, and that'll keep looping as long as we leave that loop feature on. But for a guitar part that I didn't write, that's not too bad. I just improvised that over the drum loop, and I could get a feel for that and then kind of decide what I want to do with it. And then I would go up to my guitar software here. This is Guitar Pro, and I would go and punch in my notation or tabs using that, and then come back and try and perform it better than I did that time. All right, now I've got the KORG microKEY Air plugged in here, and this is going to connect to the software synths in the app, and I've done that by connecting to the J5 Create through the USB port. You could do it through Bluetooth as well, but I find the direct connection pretty nice as well. So either one's fine. But check out the sounds on this. All right, that's called Alien Language. That's kind of cool. Let's check a couple others. Sounding. All right, you can see there's lots of options on there. There's lots of great sounds in there. And all you need is a simple keyboard controller, nothing too expensive. That'll work. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything you'll need for your home-based budget studio. Let me know if I've forgotten anything, or if you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you'd like to get a guitar lesson or piano lesson with me online or in person, go to kjzmusic.com and click the Book Online tab. Check out my music. I've got 2 artist names, 2 Bags of Blood, and Kevin Zugschwert on Spotify or your favorite streaming service. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.